Hi everybody, just wanted to jump in with this video, this little techie video. I don't like mowing lawns. Who likes mowing lawns? But I live in a place that's pretty wet, grass grows pretty quickly. And what I found is a lot of the apps that I put on my phone, so I've got up to Bluetooth headphones, so I don't hear the lawnmower going, and listen to some cool music, distract me while I'm actually doing the task. So that's great, but a lot of the applications I'm using, including streaming radio services, tend to sort of drop out, and they also don't like my phone screen being turned off. So I don't like, so if I have the screen on, then it's constantly trying to open something up or unlock itself and go through that process. So I turn the screen off to stop that, but then sometimes just the programs go to sleep because of that. Other programs, they're great, but then you've got advertising, whether it's audio advertising or something that jumps in and requires me to actually click it and move along. So it's been a bit of a pain. So I've got a few tech skills. I went to uni, did multimedia game development as part of an IT bachelor with James Cook University. Completed that. So I'm not really, I'm an egghead, but not that much of an egghead. Anyway, one of those things is actually writing code for mobile phones and games. And I thought I'll just write my own, because how hard can it possibly be? If you've got a little bit of knowledge and a little bit of help, then it should be pretty easy. And as far as Android goes and Android phones, like you need the Android Studio, which is free. So just download the Android Studio, download that. You want to install quite a few bits and pieces. You want to install the latest Java. Make sure you've got that there. And basically put it through its paces, because you want the sort of the background to sort of kick in, but the libraries and the functionality that it requires. So make sure it's connected to the internet, make sure it downloads and gets everything, and then start your project. So I've started this project, this MP3 player, which you can see on the screen. It's really only got 3 sort of parts that I've added to it so far. You can see it's actually running on my virtual window over here on my virtual phone, right? So I've just gone and created a phone, which you can do in the actual app itself. So very handy. The other thing is something I haven't actually checked. You can plug in your own phone via either via Wi-Fi or USB and actually run the tests directly on your phone without having to actually pull the app and install it. But that being said, I've already done that. First version, got that on the phone, tested it the other day, mowed the lawn, works great, plays my MP3s. Alright, so going through the 3 files, so 3 files here that I've actually made any changes. So this project, I've started this off. I'll just do it like I'll do a new project. I'll show you what this is look like. So get new project. I started as rather than empty activity, I started as a no activity because the current version that I'm using of Android Studio, if I go to empty activity, that goes and installs a system called Kotlin, and I'm not very familiar with that, but I'm very familiar with Java as a programming language. Alright, so this is fine down here, but the language I wanted to actually write in was Java, because it's simple to me, already got experience in that. If you did worry about that, you could just use the other connection. But anyway, this gives us a blank document. So if I go, actually I'll leave that as my application, right? So if I go and finish that, that goes and creates my application. So pretty basic. Give it a little bit, it's building down here. Actually, I don't know if you can see that. Let's just bring that up there. Okay. So down the bottom, you'll have to take my word for it. It's saying that it's currently building. Let's scroll up there. There we go. You can see on screen now. Yeah, so it's building, configuring so it's going through the whole process of get everything sorted. So it knows that I want a mobile application for an Android phone, because otherwise I wouldn't be using the system. And it's going to go from there. So setting up, Once it's done that, rather than having this layout here, the full layout's going to start like this. All right. So res, Java, and manifests. Right. So we've got Android manifests. We've got the applications. So they all sort of start here. Like it's sort of like a reverse website, like myapplication.example.com website. Right. But they sort of in reverse for a program. And then this res bit, so this is like graphics or UI. This is how you control what you see on the screen and how that's there. This is the actual application area itself, so the engine that does the job. So how it looks, engine that does the job, and then this is the overall how to build it, what's involved. Now, if I close that for a second, if I go to my manifest, so Android manifest is here, and we look at that. Really, there's a few things I've added here. When it started off, it was actually pretty basic. This use permissions here, because it's a MP3 player, it needs to access files on your storage device, right, on your phone, in order to play them. So probably don't need the write storage, but I've added that in anyway, but definitely the read storage, right? So reading MP3s, if I get around to later on where the application itself stores some configuration settings or has to record that, then I'll obviously need to write to the storage to store that information, right? So read and write. This is all pretty standard here. They leave basically there, but then up to here, then activity. So this bit here, I've added in there, right? Basically, it says launch, run. Yeah, I'll put this code in the comments, so you can copy paste, make it, edit the your Android manifest XML, copy paste it in there. If all you need to do here is, if you have a different name for your programs, this is MP3 player, then just change this name, right? So MP3 player here, theme, and Android player, MP3 player here. So change both of those to the name of the application you're using, or whatever you called it, and that's it, you're good to go. As far as the design goes, right, that is over here. This is activity underscore main XML. Now, what I've actually done is I went to the res folder, I created a new directory, right, and then entered the name in there. All right, so I entered the name layout, because it didn't actually have a layout to start with. And then in there, I went new file and gave it the name activity underscore main.xml. For that file, now you can see over here we've got a different view. Second, all right, so your view to start with will be possibly like this, which means you'll see the visual, right? So that's there because it's already connected back to here, but otherwise we wouldn't have these warnings here. But it's like, okay, if I want button, I can go to button, I can type a button, expand it a bit further, right? And I could go and make how it looks, click in different things, add different things, like, yep, okay, that's what I look, a switch, a toggle, radio button, checkbox. So the actual, control the layout. There's a lot of, easy to access graphical stuff you can just add in there. Like, okay, I want to add, like, phone book, possible, absolutely. But what I've done, because I've got the activity main I've just coded it straight in here. You can just sit there and add there. If I click on this split over here, that gives you an idea of what the actual code looks like. I find this is easier for more precise control, because if you want to line something up or do anything like that, then you've got access to that. So yeah, there's already padding built into this particular element here, right? So padding around the outside, 16. So change the padding, that'll change the look on this side. Yeah, and this is just buttons like folder. So this is what actually lay, what it does. So match the parent, yep. So I haven't really done too much as far as the graphic goes. That's really all I needed for the layout. So that's all that's changed there. Now off to the main activity. This is the main program. So at the top, yep, package, MP3 player, current name. Again, if your name is different, that'll be different, right? Yeah, and it's basically get the manifest, which is that. Package manager, media player, because we are trying to play music on the phone. We're going to call the media player library, which is going to allow us to play music from the phone. Then it's just usual stuff, contact, array. So if I've got arrays in a storage element, so you can imagine like I go to a particular folder and I might have 10 MP3s, or I might have 100 MP3s, but I want to be able to put the names and details about those MP3s that I want to play in order, in a sequence, so I can actually store them. This is button list view. That's to do with the actual graphics. Activity, that's just the main sort of like, is this an application, as far as I understand it. Import Java, array list, yeah. So this is calling the library, this is activating the library, array list and list. And main activity extends, that's usual programming. So going through, we've got some variables, buttons, yeah. So the button that I've got over here in the activity main, for instance, button select folder, button refresh, button list view MP3 files, so button play. So to actually use those, to check if someone actually clicked them, if they're being used, I've got to actually pull them in here. So I've created this button variable, pulling those in, so we can actually get access to those buttons and check those buttons to see if they're actually doing anything. Again, the string list, so that's gathering the MP3 files. Current index 0, that's because it's basically an int, so it's counting the number of MP3 files. We've got a reference to the media player itself, so we've imported the library, but we have to be able to use it to actually play our music. When the program starts on creation, this MP3s, set up the button, set up the array, the storage, set up connection to the media player, right? This here is extra request. So I've been trying to build in some extra checks to see if I can actually select a folder with a child folder or a subfolder inside, and then have MP3s. So this is some of the code I've just added in there recently. I'm trying to actually get it to go down into the document tree and actually be able to read and build a list from that, because it's going to be a two-dimensional list going across of all the MP3s, but then that's going to be in subfolders, if you understand. So I'm going to be able to read this folder and the folder inside that folder, right? And then list both of those sets of MP3s that are there, like anything that's in the parent folder and the child folder together in a list, and then have that go there, right? So this is a listener for the actual buttons themselves. Check to make sure everything's pressed. Again, listening for the refresh button, listening for the play button, right, with a text message. Like select the folder, okay. So this basically says, if I want to look at this one, yeah, okay, so listen for it if not MP3 files is empty, which is like negative negative, right? So it's like if the MP3 file is empty, is that, and then this is saying if the MP3 file is not empty, so is empty, is not, and that's a not, so like not empty, that's the opposite, then play from the MP3 index, right? So if the list is not empty, if there are MP3s to play, then you can play. Otherwise, say please select a folder, because it can't find any MP3s, select another folder, find MP3s for me to play. Yeah, current index, so this flicks through the position, current position, or current MP3 index. So that goes through which MP3 file. This is a call to the media player, played the MP3. Alright, so very straightforward. On activity result. Alright, so this is on activity result, and this is the part that says, do I have access to the actual folder structure of the phones? Do I have permission to read it? So we did call the read, but then this is going to verify, did it actually happen or not? If it did, then cool, we're in. Otherwise, I haven't actually got any really good coding to fix that result if it can't find any MP3s, but I'm working on that. It's just work in progress. But at this particular point, it does the job, right? It'll play MP3s. Load MP3s from folder, pretty clear what it does. So grab all MP3s and build the list of MP3 music to play, right? So put together the list, so then we play, it'll play those MP3s in order. Alright, this is the whole build the actual directory tree, so reverse directory. It's actually a pretty straightforward name. How things are displayed, how the information is displayed on the screen. Right, displayed 9, Probably you don't even need that. We will see. I might actually change that and make it a bit shorter, because I don't really need a lot of information. Document ID and MIME type might be too much information, so we might see how we go without that and clean it up a bit. Right, if you look here, string, so string is a text storage, so if I want to hold a word in the storage, then I'm going to go the string, it's the document ID string, get string. So basically, here's the information we're going to pull, and for every one of those, this is what the information is. Reverse directory, yep, build it. Display name ends with MP3, because we're only doing MP3s at this point in time. Later on I might make this a media player, but at the moment it's just an MP3 player, which is all I really needed. Then the actual function to play the MP3. So in index, which means it's going to play the MP3, but then it's going to pull in the number, the current number of the position of which file, which MP3 it is. So index it's smaller than the size, which is right. So basically saying if we haven't already reached the end of the list, then try playing, right? And if it's not, if I can't play the MP3, then error. So a little bit of control there, and then once the MP3 player has finished, alright, so let's not leave any extra bits in memory, so we'll do a little bit of a cleanup here. And this is it, that's the program in its entirety. That's what it does and how it works. And it actually looks pretty basic, as you can see over here on the right hand side. There's not much to it. I'm going to select folder. I'm going to go, alright, anyway, go in here. That's some 80s music. I'm going to go to users folder. I'm going to say allow, so it's like a phone, so I want to allow the use that folder. Right, if there are MP3s, that'll build that list right now. And it'll show up here. It's taking a second, so maybe it's got an issue with that folder. Let's try a different folder. So come back out here. Yep. Oh, users folder. Okay, so users folder, allow. Here we go. So probably want to clean up this list because you can look at this content, Bohemian Rhapsody, all of these spaces. They got this, you know, ampersand sign and 20. Where it is. So I might pay to actually clean it up and give it a bit more of a look. But if I select it, you hear something's happening in the background. There's some music, and that's about all I can play there. Alright, and that's it. So it's pretty basic, and it goes through MP3 by MP3. It goes through the list, and I'm going to start that up again. Let's see what happens here. It's connecting. There it is, opening up. Okay, so it'll go through MP3 by MP3, and once it gets to the end, it'll just finish. It's set pretty basic, but I didn't want too much functionality on there. That's going to throw me out. And as I said, I tested this. Yeah, started off with the Bluetooth phone, turn off the screen, chuck it in the pocket, mow the lawn. Yeah, everything is great. And later on, I might clean this up, and if I do, I'll post the updates on the video and see if anyone's actually interested in making their own